So after the cookie drop, she actually posted on Twitter calling out his use of the National Guard service members, tweeting, "It's time for our great men and women of the National Guard to go home and be with their families. The Democrats need to stop using them as political theater and drama on Capitol Hill. Shame on Democrats for disrespecting our military." And so we're going to go into the Zoom room where we have got the spokesperson for the National Guard, Mark Scott. Good morning.
Morning, morning.
Upper day, Bree, Chris. How you guys doing? Jason, Joser, people of Guam. Upper day.
We're doing pretty good. I guess we just wade right into this thing. What did the congressman disrespect the military by having them along for the ride when he delivered the cookies in the Kelligwin?
Did he disrespect the military, Chris? That's really a matter of opinion. And there's a whole bunch of opinions out there. Like the congressman said, it's something that's been politicized. You know, it's something that everyone can chime in on. And you know, I'll tell you guys, we don't mind that. It's freedom of speech. It's something that we defend and we fight for. So by all means, you know, keep the opinions coming, and that's fine. What I want to offer really is some facts. So, you know, if anyone's interested in knowing what the regulation says, what the Department of Defense directive says, I'm here to talk about those things. But there is one thing I want to say first, if you guys will let me. I want to say welcome home to the troops that went over there to the DC-2 mission, Capital Response. You raised your hands when the country asked for you, and you answered the call. Now that you are home, they're in the quarantine facility, we want to say thank you for your service, and thank you for your sacrifices. And I think that's important to not forget, you know, in the middle of this, I guess, opinion circus, you could say, that we want to say thank you to those soldiers who are now home. So there.
The soldiers that were in the video?
That's right.
Okay.
They're in quarantine? They didn't get an essential pass?
Not in this case, Chris, because their mission is complete. They do have some things to do, like their out processing, their travel vouchers, medical checks, and so forth. But being that their task has been completed, they're both, a lot of them are going back to their drill status. They're not considered critical service workers, so they're in quarantine.
Okay.
How did it kind of play out, though, with the congressman and the guard? Did he, like, make a request for them to accompany him, or he was just going around on a tour and they're like, hey, let's swing by and do this?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Chris. So we saw it here on their agenda. They were invited on a tour of the facilities by our Congressman, Michael Nicholas. And, you know, in goodwill. They saw a bunch of different sites. They toured around the building. They visited different people. And one of those stops, which we're all talking about, is Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think most of us have seen the video at this point. Opinions aside, you know, whether or not you think it was a storming of the Capitol or an assault or an ambush or we had combat gear or not, you know, the facts are there. They're clear in the video. And they're also clear in the regulations, and I'd like to address that a little bit too.
Okay.
There seems to be some confusion about what's right and what's not. So I have it open here in front of me. It's called the Department of Defense Directive 1344.10. Say it again. Department of Defense Directive 1344.10. And what that regulation does, you guys, is that it governs the political activities by members of the armed forces. No, I'm not a lawyer, but I can open a book and read it very clearly. It's in black and white there, the things that you can do and not do. The real point of contention that it says here is that you cannot participate in partisan political activity. And that's the key word right there, you guys. Partisan. So what is partisan political activity? The regulation actually defines it in Enclosure 2. And I know we're going into the weeds, but I think it's important to show the facts, right? For anyone out there who might be confused that we violated UCMJ, this is important to know. Partisan political activity is defined as activity supporting or relating to candidates representing or issues specifically identified with national or state political parties. Candidates. So by this regulation and the definition of partisan political activities, there was no one saying that Democrats are better than anyone else or Republicans are better. There's no one holding campaign signs, wearing shirts, advocating for a candidate by definition. So our troops did nothing wrong. They were on a tour of the Capitol as invited by our congressman. It was a cultural token of goodwill, bringing cookies and an informal introduction. There was no assault. There was no storming of the Capitol, and there was no violation of the regulation. So I hope those facts could be added to this conversation and to this dialogue, that they're well within the regulation as stated by the DOD director.
Mark, that being said, would this be something that the Guard would do again?
I would wish they would do it again. You know, being that there's nothing illegal, immoral, unethical, or unsafe about what they did, there's no regret, and there should not be any folding to any public court of opinion, especially if it comes from a fringe. And it doesn't matter which fringe. Right is right, it's black and white in the regulation. And if they had an historical experience to visit the Capitol, to meet their representative, to learn some of the culture of our great nation that they fight for and they defend, then let it happen again. Because again, there's nothing done that was illegal, immoral, unethical, or unsafe.
Just representing Guam.
Representing Guam, and I think they might have had some of those tomorrow chip cookies if they didn't all go to waste.
Does it matter? I mean, did they have to wear their uniform on this tour?
Did they have to wear their uniform?
Yeah.
I'm not too sure about that, Bree. You know, they were at the end of their tour. They had completed their job. We called it mission complete, and they were getting ready to roll out. So whether or not they had to be in their uniform, Bree, I don't know about that. Could they have worn something else? I don't know. They might have come from some kind of out processing requirement where they had to have their uniform on. I can find that out for you. But the bottom line is that they were not out of the regulation.
And invitations like this, tours like this that are hosted by the congressman's office, are they kind of like routine? Are they typical?
Yeah, you can actually book a tour if you go on the with any congressman, even St. Nicholas, his house website. There's a little thing there. You book a tour, and then him or I guess a staffer will.
Right, but he invited them, right? He invited them, right? And is that something that the congressman, does? He invites our National Guard members that are on assignment there?
That's right. Yes, Bree. And it's important to remember that when our break area during the cold months of January was in a parking garage while on shift, it was our congressman who came and drove at 1 a.m. to open up his office so they could have a warm place during their break. When we had promotion ceremonies and award ceremonies, it was our congressman who gave us the honor of conducting these ceremonies in the rotunda. So he's been present, he's been supportive, and this isn't the first time, for anyone with an opinion that thinks it was a political stunt. No, this wasn't a one-off event where he just used the Guard. He's been there for us. He's been there to assist us. He's had community outreach, give us some tons of food and appreciation over the months that we've been there.
But Mark, I mean, I just want to say that he's also posted these videos on his campaign Facebook page, like specifically the one you're talking about where he went to visit the Guard members while they were on their lunch break. And so when you have a video, and I mean, yeah, I get it that yes, please go shelter the Guards people, first of all. But when you start documenting it from start to finish and posting it up on your campaign Facebook page, it seems to me like it's kind of like campaigning. Because it's a campaign Facebook
going back
page.
To the regulation,
everything on that page is paid for with campaign funds.
So yeah, going back to the regulation, Chris, I think it's important to remember that the attendance at a campaign event or a partisan political event is what is against the regulation. Right. If they're having lunch and someone decides to take that footage and later use it as a campaign at a later date, that's when it would become a campaign event, but not at the time they were just having lunch.
Right.
So yes, the intent does matter, but when it comes to the congressman's intent, it's probably best to ask him. But as far as the regulation is concerned, these events were not partisan, nor were they campaign events.
Correct. I totally agree, but I'm just saying that if you video the guardsmen and you post them up on your campaign page, then it's a campaign, whether or not it's an event or whatever. It becomes political, right? When you try and capitalize on it in a political way.
Which one?
But that's not what happened here.
Which one is his campaign page?
Responsible Guam.
Okay. He has a couple.
He has a few different Facebook.
Let me look.
Yeah, Chris, I would talk with our congressman about that.
I didn't see
it.
that on his Responsible Guam Facebook page. I saw it on the Congressman St. Nicholas Facebook page.
The 1 a.m, driving with my hat to go rescue the guard. Anyway, so who's next? How come we didn't go see Hank Green? This is the congressman who said that Guam was going to tip over.
Oh,
I mean, if we're doing outreach, like, let's make a list and go see all these.
Yeah,
Do you remember
he
that
wasn't
guy?
in office when Hank made that statement.
Right, yeah. Was he still a congressman?
And
Hank?
Hank?
if I'm not mistaken,
Yes,
we
he
didn't
was.
have a
No, still now?
Oh, I don't know if he might be.
That was another.
yeah. If I'm not mistaken, we didn't have guardsmen deployed to
Right.
the
Yeah.
capital at that time.
Of course, no. I'm making light of it.
I got you, man.
Right on.
Yeah, I didn't see it on there.
Go ahead. Hey, what about are we done? You good?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah?
fine.
What about the vaccination clinic? I heard there was a little. Well, I had a friend who went to go get their shot, and then they had booked their appointment through Eventbrite, and they were told that they had to shut down operations at the UOG Cabo Fieldhouse yesterday, and had to rebook for today. Did something happen there with the? Well, what happened? I guess first of all.
Yeah, I got a call from one of the patients at the clinic yesterday. Actually, I was notified that there was that issue, and this individual and his wife booked an appointment, and they were in the parking lot, and the time had lapsed, or the time was starting to lapse. So this individual left the parking lot, and that's when I gave him a call. I said, "Hey, what happened?" He said, "Hey, there was some confusion about my appointment time, and it was already 30 minutes past. Should we turn back?" And that was already, by the time we talked, Chris, it was already after closing time. So it was unfortunate. There was a miscommunication, and I talked to this guy, and I said, "Hey, whenever you go back tomorrow, I'm going to meet you there personally. We're sorry that this happened, and I'm going to escort you in and your wife myself. Just give me a call whenever you want to walk in, and this is today. I'll make sure that I get you to the front of the line." So these things do happen, Chris. We try to make them right as much as we can. We try to do the best we can to right the wrong, but these things do happen. It's not perfect.
Was there also another hiccup earlier this week?
Not that I'm tracking. Do you know more about it? Maybe I could find out.
I don't. I'm just checking.
Yeah, we encourage people, even me personally, just to reach out. If you had a bad experience, or if you know of a way that we can improve, we want to do that. We want to know about our issues so we can fix them and provide better services to the people. Please don't be afraid to reach out. My email is out there, guamguardpao@gmail.com, and help us do better, please.
Any update with the quarantine facilities?
No change yet. Chris is still steady state operation. Since it is P-Core 3 and we're starting to get closer and closer toward herd immunity, we will be looking for ways to hand these tasks back, whether it's to the civil authorities or to the hotel staff, who I'm sure could use their jobs back at this point. Yeah, and that's what's being looked at right now. But as of today, no change.
Right on.
All right. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, thank you guys for your support and for the dialogue. And once again, welcome home to the troops. Thank
Welcome
Hey,
home.
man. Right on. Thank you, Mark.
you. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Mark Scott, Guam Guard PAO. He's actually in the Guard, but then I guess his role as public affairs officer for both the Air and the Army Guard is conducted as a civilian.
All right. And I'm going to send you over, Jason, the Department of Defense directive that Mark was citing. Again, that's 1344.10.